What's going on about this Afro think tank? I was reading my comments, and one of my subscribers made a great point. We were having a discussion about the Black MAGA, and FBA, right? And also white MAGA and how they all got started, how they switched to grift, right? Because with the Tariq Nasheed and all that stuff. And have you noticed, right? The white manosphere, right? First it was the white manosphere, right? And then after that, of course, the black manosphere happened, right? Remember for years, I'm talking about for a ridiculous amount of time, the white manosphere, all they did was complain about white women, right? White women is the problem this. White women need to submit. White women are too modern. And then the black manosphere follow suit, right? Black women are the problem. Black women don't know how to submit. Black women this, black women that. Remember it was damn near 5-something plus years of a whole bunch of white men on the internet in panels and podcasts talking shit about white women, right? And then you had a whole bunch of black men following suit, right? Because, they all want to be close to whiteness. And they start talking about black women, right? And we all know throughout history, women in general, mostly black women, right? And then some very progressive, evenly killed progressive and liberal white women have always been advocating for the best policies, right? That will benefit all Americans, right? But for some reason, because women in general in America are more empowered than most women around the country, right? They have a say-so, right? So in America, women are not second-class citizens. They are, in fact, citizens just like white and black men, right? And some men who don't have any charisma, and you notice, it's always the men with no charisma. It's always the men, for the white men, it's always the middle-aged, short, fat, balding ass freaking white dudes, right? Or it be some white dude that is maybe relatively attractive, but have zero personality, zero charisma, right? So because of their experiences with the white woman that doesn't see them as a viable mate, right? They all lose their goddamn minds, and now the women are the enemy. And in turn, right, black content creators who could never get women when they was young, maybe because the black dudes is ugly. There's a lot of ugly black dudes on the internet that talk shit about women because they could never get one, right? Right? And or they're fat, bald, and ugly, right? And they just was not the pick for any of these black women who desire someone that looks like they can protect them, someone who has the financial capability to protect them. So you have all these broke-ass white dudes, right? And these broke-ass black dudes, they ain't got no money, right? They got no charisma. And most of them are ugly. And if they do look good, they got such an awkward personality that, they can't get in the door either way, right? So they all started making podcasts bashing women, right? Because the women, in fact, because none of them take responsibility for their lack of financial viability. None of them take responsibility for the fact that they don't know how to put themselves together. Because there's ugly dudes who can get fine women. Why? Because they have charisma. And they have good careers because they made good choices in their lives. So they set themselves on the path to be a viable candidate for a woman, right? And just like the Revenge of the Nerds, the social media blew up with all these geeks and nerds and dweebs, right? Who were able to create personas on the internet, right? And vocalize their frustration at women. And women became the enemy, right? For white, like the white manosphere, white women are the enemy. For the black manosphere, black men are the enemy. Then they had the red pill, which was just manosphere stuff. The red pill. Then people started to take them kind of seriously. And then we had some that were very successful. Now, unfortunately for us, people like to be entertained by these dweebs and weirdos and geeks and shock jocks, right? So because of the way YouTube works, the way social media works, some of these geek dweebs and buffoons and nerds became rich, right? Very, very rich, right? Talking about black women and white women. And that's advantageous for certain political parties, right? Who view women as the enemy of their conservative progress. Because just like in the conservative Islamic world, where women don't have any rights, no say so. White Christian conservatives also don't want women to have any rights, right? They really wish women would just shut the fuck up, right? Now, at the same time now, we had the toxic female community, right? Where white women, right, who were ultra feminine, toxic feminine, right? They were talking shit about white men, or how they ain't shit, right? Or how they ain't this, or how they ain't that, right? And in turn, there was some black women who followed suit and would talk shit about men, how they ain't shit, how they need to get a white man, right? How they need to get anything but a black man, right? So we had these two communities going back and forth. Now, when that shit dried up, where did they go? All of a sudden, all of these goddamn newly found conservative, keep in mind, none of these people talked about politics before. And a lot of these people been on the internet a long time, right? Like you got your Tommy Sotomayor's and it, like he was the first one. All right, he was one of the first ones, right? And then you got all the copycats of Tommy, right? So once talking shit about black women and talking shit about white women became a non-lucrative business, because after a while, you know, social media said, all right, it's a little bit much, we're getting too much, we're gonna start demonetizing y'all going a little crazy. And then we had Donald Trump come in the picture, and he became he's one of the ultimate shock jocks, right? He slipped and slid his way into the presidency because of how uneducated and how ridiculous and how criminally unknowledgeable people are in America about politics, because they spend all their time entertaining themselves because life is stressful and they don't want to think about serious shit, because when they go to work and their lives are too seriously messed up in turmoil, right? So they're entertaining themselves with mindless entertainment, as social media became the number one spot to entertain yourself because TV shows became crap, right? So social media became the reality show because everybody's watching reality show on TV. But even those reality shows back then started to become scripted. Therefore, people got tired of watching scripted reality shows. And the reason why networks started to do reality shows, because it's much cheaper to produce a reality show than it is to produce a high quality sitcom, where you have to pay your actors millions of dollars per episode. Remember Seinfeld and Raymond and all that stuff? Those actors were getting paid millions of dollars per episode. Now, if I'm a TV freaking company, why would I pay main actors millions of dollars an episode, and all my other actors got paid them $700,000, $250,000 per episode, and we talking about 24 episodes in standard season. We talking about 13 episodes in an HBO type season, 45 minutes long HBO season, 23-minute long TV shows. Why would I do that when I can get mentally ill, socially awkward people and put them in a room for 3 weeks, film everything, and I have a whole year worth of content material to show, right? We always in there. Was right before the social media became the real reality show. We was all watching that still. Real Housewives of this, Real Housewives of that, Road Rules, Real House, Big Brother, blah, 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 you name it, but then it got scripted. So once it got scripted, we kind of like, nah, we ain't with that. And then the commercials, we wasn't dealing with that. But social media became the new reality show, with all these weirdos who are socially awkward in real life got to go on the internet, and they got to talk their weird, socially awkward, shock jock shit on the internet, and that's very entertaining. I'm not going to act like I don't watch the shit. I'm like, God, this motherfucker's weird. What are we going to say next? And it ain't like we ain't been into it for a while, because radio used to be that medium. Howard Stern was the dude. We tap into Howard Stern, he would say the most ridiculous and do the most ridiculous shit, right? But that's back when we had onesies and twosies, right? And then you had AM radio. That's where all the conservatives was at, because they were shunting from the FM side, right? You had truckers and people who did jobs that had them on the road and by themselves isolated. Well, listen to the AM side of the radio and listen to all the right-wing Christian conservatives complain about shit white Christian conservative racists like to complain about, right? Right? And then that shit got old, right? They all migrated to the internet. And so all these manosphere, red pill, fat, bald, ugly, socially awkward weirdos, right? After talking about females didn't work, Donald Trump came in, gave them an avenue to pretend like, all of a sudden, yeah, we hate the Democrats. Some people who never talked about politics, never had a political opinion, period, been on YouTube for 10 goddamn years, you ain't never heard shit. All of a sudden, they're all political experts, and they all hate the Democrats. Every single one. The white ones, see, that white ones made sense, right? Because they been hating the Democrats, because the Democrats represent the majority of America. It gives women empowerment. It gives minorities empowerment. It gives people who are disabled empowerment, right? We know white Christian men don't like that shit, because anybody that's not a white Christian man, right, that shit is woke, right? Woke just means anybody that ain't white Christian straight male, right? And we come to find out, most of these white Christian straight males that don't seem to like anything but men end up being, gay, right? Most of them in the closet, right? And we got the same thing on the manosphere side. We got a lot of LGBTQ closeted homosexuals, right? Who, because they can't come out, they just go ahead and just compensate by trying to be extra manly. Y'all know how women who are gay and they in the butch kind, they try to act extra doodly and shit. Or you got the men that like to be girls and they're like extra sassy and shit because they're compensating for the fact that they're not that thing, right? So now all the manosphere red people are all of a sudden conservatives. All of a sudden they care about politics and know about politics. But keep in mind, all of these, even the white ones and the black ones, who some of them don't even say they're conservative or Republican, they'll just shit on the Democrats as if they're the only party that exists at all. And they'll complain about how the Democrats don't do anything. You're a Democrat shield, Democrat plantation. They repeat the same shit, all of them. But if you ask them, what policies do you promote? Silence. When you ask them, what Democrat parties policies are you against? Silence. If you ask them, what bills did the Democrat pass that you are against? Silence. And I'm talking about the black one and white ones. And then when you ask them, especially the black ones, ask the black one, what Republican policy do they promote? Silence. Right? Even to this day, you can't get a black Republican to tell you why they support the Republican Party. You can't even get them to tell them why they hate the Democratic Party, because they're shallow mentally. They're mental midgets, right? And they're on the next grift. So once Donald Trump is done and we have our inquisition and all these people start going to jail, right? And it's no longer cool or profitable to be a coon or to be a MAGA, to be FBA, because all the F people saying FBA. Look at all the black guys who were quasi pro-black. They pretend to be pro-black, right? They pretend to be pan-African, but they're conservative, which is oxymoron, right? In America especially. And they have no actual political positions at all. Some of them ride the fence and try to play back and forth. And you got different degrees of conservatives who try to dump on other conservatives for whatever various reason, but you still can't get them to pin them down on what makes them conservative other than their shallow, need to attach themselves to the new fad. When this fad is over, what's going to be the next grift? Because right now, for the black side, Pan-Africanism is on the rise continuously, right? Continuously. So, and the thing is, if you're a coon, you can't actually go that route because we don't forget, right? I think the only one who's making a pretty good pivot is Candace Owens. She has a very long arc, right? Candace Owens did it, right? And who else? Amazing Lucas. He used to be a conservative, right? But he pivoted a long time ago when he's like, hold the fuck up, because he was like a small hat Colin Powell Republican, which is cool. If you can explain, like Colin Powell, why you're a Republican, or Michael Steele Republican, that makes sense, right? But once the MAGA Republican shit came in, that's when Amazing Luke was like, oh, I'm not about this shit. This ain't real Republican. Because none of the MAGA is really conservative. That's not conservatism. That's neo-Nazism, fascism, right? So look at all your manosphere people, the ones who started, the leaders of the manosphere in Red Pill. Even though some of them are trying to dump it or try to act like not a part of it, you can still tell within their content that they're still manosphere Red Pill adjacent, right? Some of them went off to be passport bros, right? So they went from F the black woman to let me go and get a foreign black woman. F the black woman, let me go get a foreign white woman, right? Just like the white ones. A lot of them went to go be passport bros, right? They got the same rhetoric, but they took action, got on an airplane, and started begging their subscribers for money so they can, do their thing, right? So the passport bros are a branch off the manosphere Red Pill, slightly conservative. Some of them are not conservative or not politically affiliated. Then you got ones that try to branch off to all other kind of shit, right? The white manosphere they branched off and just became MAGA comedians. They got their podcast where they They invited Trump, and they took politics for a joke. Now all of them are like, oh shit, I'm not with Trump because I said this a long time ago. I said that the MAGA and all the MAGA grifters who were promoting Trump, putting them on it, and convincing their subscribers that Trump was good for them, all of them are trying to pivot now, and they were going to wait for the last election, and they were going to wait for Trump to do something that he'd been doing to say, oh, I'm not with that no more. As if they didn't do any research on Donald Trump before and know that that's what he did, because they ain't doing nothing but the shit he been doing, right? Just all of a sudden they became aware about what it is that Donald Trump is doing, right? And now they want to apologize halfway, because when Trump is gone, the grift is over. So I'm just interested to know what's the next grift for these grifters when they don't have the MAGA Trump movement to make their money off of. When that shit dry up, what'll be the next movement? Because we cannot forget the people who started out bashing black women, the people who started off going off to other countries and exploiting other women in other countries with sex exploitation, calling it passport bro, making all black and white travelers who travel professionally, right, look bad on the world stage, right? And all the fake pro-blacks who are now FBA, and they finally found their pride as black people, and all of a sudden they were not aware of the fact that African American, the reason why African Americans are called African Americans is because we came from multiple countries in Africa, and there's never been a white person ever, you know, to be called an African American. They use that weird lame ass trope. Oh, Elon Musk is African American. Like, bullshit. He ain't even African. He was never African in the first place. No white person that ever been considered African. It's never been in a lexicon for any white person to be African. Even if an African person say that a white person say they're African, all Africans say, no, you're a white colonizer. But they still run with it, right? They're still running with it, right? Try to pretend like they're offended by talking shit about Africans who talk shit, even though African Americans are the biggest shit talkers on the planet, and we take pride in shit talking. We even have a whole rap genre where we talk shit for competition, but somehow these so-called tough African Americans who don't take no shit are somehow internally hurt by some African people who can barely speak English talking shit about them, even though most of these people will never talk shit about any African, and they're just listening with their peripheral ears what somebody else said because they're all followers. Or they figured out they could make some money talking shit about all Africans. So they went from talking about black women to just talking about other black people in general. Because that's the easiest way to make money, to be a shock jock, to have themselves a little club on the internet that they can pile up with and feel like they're a part of some shit. my subscriber, he's like, yeah, we were just talking about it. I'm like, man, that makes a lot of sense. I'm really curious to see what the next grift is. Who the next? Because like I said, Candace Owens, she went from talking shit about black people to talking about Jews, right? That seemed to be the next popular thing, right? So I'm wondering, are y'all going to start talking about Jews? Is that what y'all going to do? Y'all going to start talking about Israel? Y'all going to do the Candace Owens move? Because I swear, and then she had a perfect off-ramp. Somebody had to die for her to be able to do it. If Charlie Kirk wouldn't sacrifice his life for Candace Owens to be able to do his long arc pivot, I don't know where the hell she be at, because she was on her way out. But now she got some other people hating her, right? But she can never come back over here. I see her. Y'all see her, right? Y'all see her. She can never come back here. Now, Kanye West, on the other hand, we know he got mental issues. And for some reason, black people will always, we just waiting for Kanye West to like take his medicine and come out with a bomb-ass CD we gonna buy, and we gonna forgive him. It's just something about Kanye West. We're like, all right, bro, we know you just mentally ill. We know you going through some shit. Go ahead and fix yourself up. Go make a CD. We gonna buy the shit because it's gonna be amazing, and we gonna pretend like this shit never happened, right? Right? That just like Robert Downey Jr. is the only white man that can do blackface, and we accept it because that shit was awesome because he was making fun of white people doing blackface in a movie with a bunch of black people. Huh, you people, what? Like, that's the only guy who can do blackface. Everybody else, you ain't got a pass, all right? That motherfucker got a whole pass. All right, give me a part 2. Matter of fact, give me a whole movie with him in it being blackface because it's cool with him, all right? But other than that, I just want to see. Hey, in the comment section, what do you think these grifters are gonna do next? What's the next thing they gonna all of a sudden be pissed off at? What they gonna be mad about? What they gonna be offended by? And how long you think that shit gonna last? Y'all tell me what y'all think in the comment section. Anyway, this is Afro Think Tank. Learn something, teach something. I'm out.
Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. Free Sudan, boycott diamonds and gold. We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.